Hey guys, welcome back to DC Action. My name is Chris. Today we're going to be breaking down The Flash Season 9, Episode 4. As always, before we get into the episode, make sure you've watched it because there will be some spoilers ahead. And also, just before diving too far into it, I'd like to mention that I will not be doing trailer breakdowns for the foreseeable future, as I've just started university and I kind of want to work that all out first before I do too much more on this channel. But if I do feel like I have time for it, I will once again start the trailer breakdowns. But don't worry, the episode breakdowns aren't going anywhere. Anyway, we start this episode, which is going to be a two-part thing, with this week's episode being part 1, then next week's being part 2. Anyway, this one starts on Mark, who helps build a cosmic treadmill for Red Death, who, as we learned last episode, is really Ryan Wilder. She calls Mark, and criminals in general, a superstitious and cowardly lot, which is a classic Batman line that many of you may be familiar with. Barry and Iris then talk about Red Death and Ryan's disappearance, not knowing that they are the same person yet. Meanwhile, Joe and Cecile talk about moving away from Central City, where Joe says that he wants to leave in order to raise Jenna without being in danger. Also, we see Jenna for the first time in a few seasons in this episode, which is kinda cool. At Star Labs, Chester chats with someone called Wookiee Lover 77. I think that this may be Cisco, as we know Cisco loves Star Wars and is friends with Chester. Plus, it's the final season and it just wouldn't be complete without Cisco in my opinion. The Flash then confronts Red Death, however this doesn't exactly go according to plan, as she unleashes an EMP blast on the city. And once again, she says a classic Batman line, which just isn't the same coming from her.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am the Red Death.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Then Rivalo, aka Rainbow Raider, shows up for the first time in a long time and incapacitates Barry, allowing Red Death to take him prisoner. While being held prisoner, Barry attempts to talk to Red Death and appealing to her sense of compassion. However, it doesn't really work, as she seems to have some sort of past with him and swears revenge on him. He learns that Red Death's speed is artificial, and that's the reason why she can't power the cosmic treadmill, and therefore needs Barry to do it. Meanwhile, Ryan Wilder shows up to Iris's apartment, where there she attempts to convince Iris of a false lie. However, Iris sees right through it, making Ryan have no other option but to share the truth, or at least a version of it. She says that she's from another timeline, where the Flash is a villain, and she was Gotham's only hero, with her being adopted by the Waynes and then becoming Batwoman after their death, similar to the Batman origin story we all know and love. Ryan says she studied the abilities of heroes and villains to gain an upper hand against criminals, using the data she collected on the Flash to create an artificial Speed Force. Also, she mentions that in this alternate timeline, Barry was one of her friends from the League, referring to the Justice League of course, which has never been name dropped in the Arrowverse, and this is the closest we've gotten to it so far. But of course we have seen a version of the Justice League in this universe, although it hasn't been called that, mostly due to copyright issues with Warner Brothers. Iris still doesn't buy into her story, leaving Ryan no other option but to suit up in a Red Death armor and kidnap her also. The way the armor suits up around Ryan reminds me of Iron Man's Mark 42 armor, which we saw in Iron Man 3 in the MCU. Back at the facility where Barry is being held prisoner, he attempts to appeal to Mark's sense of reason, but it appears as though he doesn't care what Barry has to say. With Iris now being used as leverage against Barry, he starts to run on the cosmic treadmill to allow Red Death to travel throughout time. Using the treadmill forms a red storm over Central City, which sends a lightning bolt through the window of Joe and Cecile's house, almost hitting Jenna, if it wasn't for Cecile's ability to seemingly stop time, or at the very least create some sort of force field that stops the glass falling upon Jenna. Cecile sees the entire neighborhood is in trouble and goes to help them. Meanwhile, Chester, with the help of last episode's rogue team, tracks down Barry and plan to help him escape. Meanwhile, Mark sabotages the cosmic treadmill, sending all the energy Barry generated right into Red Death. However, after running on the treadmill, Barry has no speed to run them away. Mark fights the rest of Red Death's rogue team, while Barry's rogue team rescues him. They leave without Mark, knowing that if they went back to save him, they would all die. However, this means that Mark is left to be killed by the rogues, or presumably so, we don't exactly see this. Allegra attempts to talk to Chester about their weird relationship. However, due to the impending danger, he shoots her down, saying that it isn't the right time. Back at the West House, Cecile starts to worry that staying in Central City is dangerous for Jenna. However, Joe realizes that setting an example for Jenna through seeing her mother being a badass superhero is more important than running away. Now with the cosmic treadmill destroyed, Red Death swears revenge upon Barry, saying that she will bring war upon him. And that is the end of part 1 to this Red Death storyline. And I'm assuming next episode will tie it up, and then for the later half of the season, we will start wrapping up the entire show as a whole. But anyway, until next episode, that is it for me. So I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content like this. But until next time, this has been Chris, and I'll be seeing you.